Hi, I'm David from Red Belly Black. I just thought I'd take some time to take you through, a studio shoot. As you can see, I'm just currently setting up lighting, just trying to sort of get a basic feel of, put in place what I'd like to do. Now I've got young Erica's come in. She's wearing a set of clothes that I actually asked her to wear. I wanted to sort of play with black and white, and I want to play with deep shadows if I can. So the lighting's just previously set up for a shoot with her dancing on black. So camera-wise, I should be fairly close to set up. I just want to go through and start checking my lighting, weigh it up with what my camera's doing, and basically try and get the room as ready as I can so we can just go in and do a whole pile of shoots, anything from headshot to full body shots. I'll be looking at mainly using flash, but probably looking at bringing in a balance of LED lights as well, sort of use that. As you saw then, I just testing that the camera is firing off the flash units, and I'm just going to sort of just try and get some of my softboxes spread around, just basically see where it's at, get the lighting set, and then worry about posing the model and getting her to do certain things. So the first thing I'll usually do is get the lighting in place, just take a full body shot. Just take a shot to see where the lighting is. So I'm currently at ISO 20, shutter speed 60, and I've got an aperture there of 20, which, as you saw, lit up pretty well. That's pretty much the settings I was carrying across from the previous shoot when I had young Erica doing more dance maneuvers. So now I'll try a full body shot, just to check the lighting full length, and yeah, got a bit of a problem there. Obviously the legs are way too dark, so I'm going to have to look at bringing in a bit of light onto the legs just to try and get balanced. Erica's got fairly white skin there, so that's going to bounce light, but I really want it from top to bottom, a reasonable lighting level on her. So I'm just grabbing a few bits and pieces. As usual, I think I just actually had a phone call then. Never get any peace from these things, but either way. So look at bringing a flash unit into the legs. Get the ladder out of the way. I'll use that a little bit later. I tend to like having a ladder around so I can get up higher and above the model. I don't have too much headroom on this cyclorama wall since I put that four-way roller in. But still, it's nice to have a little bit of choice. Okay, so I'm setting up the flashlights on her legs, just to sort of get a little bit more balance there and get that sorted. Really, I'm not worried about the pose at the moment. I'm just trying to get the lighting set so we can just go through and not worry about the lighting in any way, shape or form. So I take a test picture full length again, and seem to have a little bit of problems. I've still got no light on the legs, which is strange considering I've got a 400 watt flash pointing straight at her legs. So yeah, I thought I'd better test my flash unit. The modelling light's on, maybe it wasn't flashing, so I thought I'd better check all the settings on it, and it appears all up that it wasn't flashing, and yet when I test it now with the modelling light off, the flash hits on. So sometimes it happens. As you'll notice on the other two flashes, there's no modelling lights. Unfortunately, I've blown the modelling lights, so I'm having to work without the ease of having a modelling light, which helps quite a lot with my focusing. Alrighty, that balance looks a little bit better, so I think the legs probably touch bright now. So I'll move the small flash unit back in a moment, simply because just trying to get a bit of balance in the images. I get the modelling light back on that unit, reposition it, just move it back a bit, just to take a bit of the power out of the light. And sort of let's see where we're going now. So that's better. It looks like a much more balanced shot. Now we can start thinking about the way we want to do it. So I've got the lighting at least set up in such a way that I know it's where I want it, but the trouble is I actually want to go for fairly dark shadows in this one. So my thoughts were that I'd like to get good light on one side and dark on the other up against the black background. So pretty much decided then to move all the lights over to the other side. Look, I know the distances, so as long as I keep my distances roughly the same, my lighting should pretty much stay the same. I haven't adjusted the flash levels or anything, so that should be fine. Now, I've got a dark background, but I've got to be really careful because I don't want to go splashing too much light on that dark background. But I've got to light up the model in front, and that's a technique you use for feathering your softboxes, so that I'm getting light onto the model, but I'm not directly pointing the lights at the back. Test shot, a little bit hot on the top. As you can see there, the legs were reasonable, okay, those distances were fine, so it's this big boom box I've just put in the middle there, that Octa softbox. So again, distance, balance, so just get the model move a little bit. Also just want to sort of try and get a bit more positioning in her legs as well. Although a lot of the shooting I'm going to be doing won't be full body, as you can see, I'll sort of be going for half body shots. It still actually affects the shoulders and the shape of the body, so sometimes you just got to get the legs in a decent position that holds the rest of the body up into shape. So a bit of a discussion here, just to sort of let her know where I'm trying to go with this, and I'm just explaining what I'm trying to do with the lights. So as she moves her shoulders around and her poses around, it's going to be light on her left side and dark on her right side, and we'll sort of play with that darker look, see if we can get sort of some nice sensual looks out of it. Now I'm showing you all the raw clips as I shoot them. There's no editing done on them, that's how they were shot. So as you see the images as we go through, you'll be getting the images as they're shot in the camera. I mean, obviously for the model I've edited them up and touched them up a little bit better, made them look nicer, and we do end up getting some really nice shots. But a lot of it has really to do with getting your lighting right to begin with. If your lighting's wrong, you're fighting with that all the way through. Now what I'm just explaining to the model at the moment is I just asked her to sort of imagine there's a guy over there, the other side of the bar if you want, that she's really keen on, she wants to get his attention, can't say anything, so she's got to sort of look at him and attract his attention. I'm just trying to get this softness in her face, as you can sort of see there. So I'm trying to come in with this very dark look, but at the same token I need some mood in her eyes, and I need some softness and sensuality in her pose. And I tend to find if I can get them imagining a good mindset and get something in their head, it comes out looking real. And as you can see, these lovely shots. Erica's looking absolutely beautiful. She's a beautiful girl anyway, but the soft and sensuality of the shots, I think, is really sort of coming in. Okay, so another thing I like to do is, as I get through a bit of a set, I like to sort of just go through the images with the models, just to show them where they're at and show them what's, how good they look, really. It's like the more confidence a model's got, the better they're going to pose. Now, Erica's a dancer. Dancers make absolutely great poses. But looking at the shots, I've decided to bring in this LED light. Now, LED lights, that's at 5600K. It's a bit cooler than the flashlights. And as you can see, it's just cooled the image down a bit. But the other thing it's done, even though you're looking at the studio here, and all the light seems on Erica's right hand side. It's a very low light compared to the power of the flashes, so all the power of the light is actually still on the left hand side. I've got no modelling lights, so it looks really out of balance, but it's more what happens under the flashes, and sometimes you've just got to learn to work like that. So it looks like we're in quite a light room doing these shots, and yet we're getting really nice dark imagery, and that's really the fact that I've closed the aperture down so far. I'm working as low on my ISO as I possibly can, and we're just trying to get some really nice dark shots. For some reason the flashes didn't trigger there right, so I got one dark shot. That happens sometimes when I hit the triggers too quick. Flashes, big flash systems don't come up. Had a really good run in this because she was posing really well. You can see the shape and curve of her body. It's on her shoulders are off. It's all looking really soft. She's doing really lovely sort of posing, and it's all in the dark. So I must have taken about 20 or so images in this little set. But look at what's coming out of it. It's actually going to be really hard to decide which of these to use. I mean, realistically, there's all these beautiful shots, but you're going to use one or two of them, and where do you choose? So I'm basically staying close. I've come out. I want to just get a little bit of this curves, just get her moving into a few different positions, just get her relaxing under this, light, and see what we get out of it. Now I've got it turned around to the left, so a lot of her is in the dark, and so I've sort of wanted to play with that. So I'm getting it to turn back just a bit now, just to see if we can open up, and I'll also just sort of get it to turn around a bit a little bit later. But okay, so I'm just opening up my framing a bit just to sort of see what I get, follow the curves up the back, and just have a play, put her in a few different positions just to sort of see where she goes. Alrighty, so I've finished those sets. I'm on a reasonably short lens. I'm on a 105 at the moment. It's only a fairly small studio, but again, I like to sort of, as I've gone through the shots, like to sort of come back to the model, show her what's been happening, have a look myself. I might make some decisions on changing some lights. But the decision here is actually I want to get up a little bit higher. As you saw in some of those shots, although it was dark, we were getting the rollers just come in close to a head. Now obviously I can fix that in Photoshop without too much of an issue, and as long as it's not cutting into a head, which it wasn't. So I'll get myself up a bit higher, just have a look, just to see if the lights are balanced still. I've moved, so I just want to sort of check that things are going. Then obviously I feel I should edge this body softbox off a bit, just to get a little bit more edge and light right down her shoulders, down over her bottom, down the back of her legs. Because we've also got this flash in front hitting her legs, just to sort of keep them bright. And you see the difference there, just a little bit more roundness on the shoulders, and a little bit darker into the back there. So, little things, but as you're going through, it can make a little bit of a difference. Now that's actually more for the model. I've got a heater on the ground, going in. Something I always try to do, either have a fan or a heater or both, so the model doesn't get too hot or doesn't get too cold as they're doing things. So let's try this shot again. So that's nice. You can see sort of where the light's sitting on that. We'll go with that and see where we get. Again, I'm just trying to find my positions, find her shape, check my lighting at the moment. I've gone to full body just to sort of see where the lighting is, and I'm just trying to find the lighting, so we're getting that lovely 50% light on one side and dark on the other. So another decision is just to bring the lighting around harder into her legs. And the reason I'm turning off that modelling light is just because it's glaring, and it will affect my white balance too. Okay, so we've tried that, and I feel that was a more balanced shot. So we'll try a whole pile of shots on that now. So So again, we're going to try the same thing where I've asked her to basically, try and imagine there's a guy there that she wants to get the attention. I really want to get sensuality in the face. I want this softness coming out of the dark. And I think I'm getting, you see the images there. I think I'm actually achieving that. It's really, really nice, sort of soft. Considering how light we are in the room there, it's quite surprising how the shots, are turning out. Now, in saying that, the lighting that I've got in the room really isn't that bright. I think that's a 150 watt LED light versus 1,000 watt flashes. So, the video camera's picking up the lighting and has set its gain structure so it can see, but I've got the camera manually set down so that we're going through much darker images. Something I really, really like, especially when shooting these dark shots, or just trying to get these really nice close soft shots. Of either boys or girls, actually. I think it works for both. But just getting their hands up doing soft things, and where they can feel very soft with themselves, and just trying to find different tilt positions in their head, looking up, looking around. And you can't hear me because I've got music going in the background. I've had to turn it down. I'm sort of just suggesting different tilts and leans on her face. Like, I like the demure with the chin down, and then I'll sort of say, well, can you bring your chin back up? Let's get a stronger look there. And then I'll say, tilt your head the other way, etc., etc. So I think now I've, again, taken probably about 20 shots again. So I'll stop, I'll have a little bit of a look through. I've had my look through, and I guess I've decided, I'm going to change the lens. So I'm going to bring the big boy out and get the 70-200. I always love the way this lens ends up, to be really honest. It's such a beautiful lens. You see the warmth come in. I can't get as wide as I could with the little 100, but hey, it's a beautiful lens to play with. It's got such a big lens that I just get some really nice stuff. So again, just trying to get some softness there. I've come out to a half body shot. I just want to show up some of those curves, and really wanting to sort of play with that dark, just seeing bits and pieces of it coming out of the dark. I like lots of type of photography. I do like sort of playing with the dark. As you can see behind, I've got lots of colours. I do like bright colour and bright imagery a lot of the time. But I just really felt with Erica here with that off-the-shoulder dress, which I saw her wearing on Instagram. I thought, really wouldn't mind playing with that. Sort of get her in it. She looks really, beautiful in it, and I just wanted to sort of see what we could do coming out of the dark. So now a little bit more back to the light, and what I'm going to try and do is just sort of get her to slowly come around over her shoulder on this. So obviously that's a little bit too far, but hey, you got to take it to see. So I'm going to get her to come back around and just open her face up a bit with the lights, just so we can try and find that really nice shot that opens up. So I've just pulled it around a bit more under the main light there, and with her back right up against, just to see how that lights up. So you can see the softbox hitting the center of her back there, and I'm trying to get a little bit more around the shoulder. So I'm just guiding her to come back around to mine, just to open up a bit. I've hit the edge of the screen there, a bit pain. I have to fix that up with Photoshop. That's the way it goes sometimes. But really just trying to sort of, really just trying to find, some beautiful sort of edgy, coming around into the light shots. It's got great shoulders and, nice look over the shoulder, look in that heavy lights. Not a bad thing. So alright, sort of found where I want her. So now I'm going to bring the hands back in and just, again, look how it just brings this softness down into the whole pose. So it's something I really do like, is when girls can be very soft with their hands on themselves, and I think it can look very, very nice in a photo, and just adds to the context of what's happening there, and the emotion that's trying to be driven within the imagery. I find eyes very important, and getting a mindset in the model to help drive the emotion of the picture, I think is really important. Alright, so I'm opening out a bit, just trying to get the curve of her back with the bottom. I think that looks so lovely, and it's just really just trying to have a play with the curves if you want curves and light, see where we go with it. I mean, we've got plenty of time, and I'll be going through and having a lot of trying a lot of different things in this darker sphere, if you want, or scape, and sort of see what comes out of it, and just trying to find different poses that use lines and shape and curve, and accent the light one way and the dark the other way. Now that's lovely. That's a really lovely shot, that one. That's probably one of my favourites so far, actually. And it's just trying to find that little position. Look at that. That's absolutely beautiful as well. So it's really just trying to find, once your lighting's set, it's just playing with the face, playing with the body, and just trying to find different looks that really that suit the person, that suit the imagery, and shows how many different faces a person really can have. Now that's a really gorgeous shot. So you can sort of see what I'm doing here, just trying to find subtle differences, just getting it to slowly come around a little bit more, just trying to open her up a little bit more and a little bit more as we go along. Okay, so I've gone through and found, taking quite a shot, asked her to relax, because posing's not easy, believe it or not. I mean, I know I get tired taking the shots, but it's easy to see the model go downhill really quickly if you're not careful. We just letting them have regular breaks and stretches. I think that's really, really important too. Now I'll just be going through the images, just sort of see what I got. Backtrack, see if there's anything there that I should be trying to get to. Now I've just asked her to sort of play with the hair. Another thing I really like is hands in hair, and what girls do, preening themselves. But as you can see, it is disappearing into the black. I'd probably need to bring her around a bit more into the lights to get any real effect off her hair there. So worth trying. I'll try some hands on faces now. See where we get with that. Like I said, you've got to find where the line of light, and how you use it, and how you use it on the poses. So it's dark on the back of the hand, light on the front of the hand. Now, what I've asked her to do here is I've asked her to hold the pose, and what I've sort of said I'll do is I'll take 3 shots: a close up, a mid shot, and a far shot, and just go through that sequence. So I've asked her to hold a pose, shoot it, pull out a bit, shoot it, pull out a bit. Then I'll get her to change poses. Then I'll shoot it, move in. Save a bit of time that way. Still get the same effect. Just to sort of, have a look at, the different zooms on the posing as well. I quite often like doing that. Once you get the model and yourself in sync, just get them to do a pose, go slowly, get a few shots off that, get them to change their pose, take a few shots. As you can see, I'm just sort of asking to turn around, using a 180 shoulder to shoulder, and see how the light affects her coming around onto the actual, and I'll probably end up getting her to face the light eventually, but I just want to see how it goes with all the lights and the shadows and features. And of course, you get a bit of choice out of this. You end up with far too many photos to edit, but hey, you got the model there, you got the flashes there. Might as well take every shot you can and see what you get. You end up coming out with some really magic and golden shots. So we had a look through those last sets of 3. And what I find by doing this is, both of us start, getting ideas. The photographer and the model start, getting some different ideas. Some of these sessions, go for hours, and sometimes it's very hard to come up with fresh or new ideas. I'm not really a systematic shooter. I don't like sort of do this pose, do this pose, do this pose, do this pose. I mean, I know there's things that work, and when you get flat, you try them. Either way, Erica here, because she had the shoulderless shirt on, most of the hand movements were down low. And I like getting hands above the heads and awkward poses and all these type of things. So here I sort of start suggesting to her that, okay, well, let's do some stuff above the top of the head. Because she says, well, as soon as I do that, my top will just pop back over on my shoulders, and I think she wanted off the shoulder shots. So I sort of suggested, well, look, raise one arm, put your shoulder up over on one arm, raise one arm, and use the other side, and vice versa. Just to try and get a few different styles of shots there, that we've got to play with. So we try this. I like arms over heads. I don't know why. Eyes looking through arms over the heads, all that type of stuff. I think it looks really good, and you can see the way that it stretches the whole body out and puts really good shape and form into the body, and really shows the figure of a girl when you do that, especially if you can get the right angles. And of course, look at this, exactly as I said, look at those curves. It's just, that's what I like about arms over heads. And with this really dark light, look at those really subtle looks on her face, absolutely spectacular. So get her to turn away from the light. This ended up being a little bit of a fail because look how dark her face is. I still really like it, but the fact that her face is so dark was, and we were just doing this, so in the end, I've sort of had to come back and say, well, can we turn it around a bit? I mean, that's really nice, as is that. And I take photos. I don't mind what the model does. I take them. Sometimes you get some really nice ones. Now, I'll go back through the photos, but as we look at them, we see the faces are dark. So I sort of suggest doing the exact same thing, but opposite. So you're facing into the light. Let's see what that looks like. As it was the right answer, because we'll get some really nice shots out of that. But here's the thing: once you get your lighting, there's so much you can do. It's really just about moving the body around in that pool of light. Not that it's that easy to see because it's so light here, but you've got to keep a really, really good idea of where your pool of light is. I mean, that's beautiful. That's what I wanted right there. So turning around the other way was the right idea. But yeah, sometimes when you're playing with your lighting, you've really got to keep in mind what it is, and have a really good imagination about where the light's actually going, what it's actually doing. Watch your model, watch where they're positioned in it, watch how they're standing in it. I think models can't help themselves. They either move too far forward or too far back of lighting. You often have to sort of come forward again, or move back. At the moment here, Erica's come slightly forward of the lighting, which is good, turning her back into it and stuff, coming up with some really nice stuff like this. But, I'll have to push her back into the lighting to sort of, get a bit more sort of play and feel of a bit more light, because right at the moment she's sort of stepping forward of the softbox, and you can see that the way it's not following around the curves at all. Mind you, I still really like the way the light's hitting there. Of course, I've got a heavy finger sometimes. I just take it, and then that happens. You get an accidental shot that just turns out absolutely brilliant, with a really nice smile. I'm one that I don't like smiles that much unless they're really natural. That, if it's just a really on the spur of the moment smile, they really, really work. If it's a false smile, I don't like it. Now, Erica just went into a sort of series of moving poses here, so I just thought, I'll let it happen, keep it going, see what comes out of it. See how she's moved right forward into the light, so it's all coming from behind her. Really nice, but I think, we're just a little bit too far forward, although I really like that. That's, I really like what's coming out of it, although we'll have a look at it, and I'll end up pushing it back and asking her to get back into the light a bit more, so we can do a few more things. In fact, it's like, this is the thing with nice big soft boxes, is you can stand someone right up against them, you can move them away, and you have different effects on it. Each of my soft boxes, I've got gridding on it. That helps the light just go a little bit more straight. If you want light that gets around a bit more and is a bit more, what's the word for it? Goes around the corners a little bit better. Take your gridding off, and you'll achieve that on the softbox. But I tend to like having that gridding on the softbox. Now, here's where I've basically said, well, come on, I want you back into the light. I want you doing, let's see what we get. Of course, the closer you move to the light, the brighter the light gets. So you've got to sort of play off there. Each meter you've got to pretty much halve your lighting, or you'll pretty much halve your lighting. Now, look at these curves. That's got to be captured. So we'll go through and sort of have a look at this. But here's what I really like about arms on heads, especially sort of looking through like that. Look at the shape it just puts into the body. And you can just tell, even as a top shot like that, you can just see the lines going down and working. These are what I like to call the hot shower looks. The last whole series has been what I call the hot shower looks. If you can't get the person getting themselves emotionally involved in the posing, just tell them to think like they're in a really lovely hot shower by themselves and get into these poses. And you can see the relaxed poses Erica's taking. She's got that really nice hot shower look. And I love that. When you're dealing with underage girls, you've got to be very careful of what you say, obviously, and so you've got to come up with really nice explanations. And a hot shower look explanation avoids a lot of, going into the wrong places on wrong words, and tends to work. And it was funny, it was a mother of a 10-year-old that came up with that one, and I've been using it ever since. It's just made talking with the girls a lot easier, and no implications, blah blah blah. So now that I've got her in under the box, we'll have a look at the next set. Coming through a little bit hot, but hey, that's easily editable. But I just love that whole drop of the hair and arms in the face, and if you can get a girl just relaxed into that, you get some really, really nice shots. And you can put their head more behind it and have peek throughs, and it's must admit, generally some of the shots I really try and get now of anyone I'm shooting are those hands on heads and through the elbows, and playing with your light with them. You can be in a bright circumstance, you can be in a dark circumstance, you can have lots of fun with these style of poses in whatever lighting you're playing. But look at those images, aren't they absolutely beautiful? And these are unedited. I can make these look so much better editing them up, putting them in the Lightroom or the Photoshop. But hey, when you get your lighting in a nice position, you get your settings right, your images are coming out in quite a nice way, like this. Well, we've probably taken enough of those. But out of those, you're gonna pick one or two or three that are really, really good. So you take lots of good shots, and you can really just settle down with the really good ones. Try picking that in a field of 1,000. It's not easy. And what I liked about this with the dark is the black and white outfit, the off the shoulders look. It's sort of giving a lot of opportunity to find shape and form in the darkness. What I'm sort of explaining to Erica now is I just wanted to sort of come around and move into the light back and forward, so that we get, start playing with this big light that we've got right in front of it, and see how that looks on her. And like I said, a dancer, very good poser. I find all dancers are very good posers because they've got to pose a lot in what they do. I tend to find that they do a really good job of posing. Some girls that haven't learnt to pose in dancing have to really be led on the way. That's a beautiful shot, that one. Give me a little bit more time, so I want to try and get 3/4, half, and close. And it really, it's just getting people playing with the hair, putting hands up, and just trying to sort of get different body postures. And look at that. Trying to get the expression out of the eyes, not pulling a face. That relaxed face is really important, because it lets the eyes talk. Then it lets lets everything else come out. So basically, just trying to get some different looks. Just trying to come up with different ideas to shoot and see what we get. Probably repeating a few sort of looks here now, but we'll go against the light and let's see what comes around. So I've basically asked her to sort of start into the light and face away from the light, and we'll see what we get. Now that she's actually standing in the light, as you can see, the light's pushing around a little bit more, so you're getting a little bit more clarity in the dark side, which I like both, but if you're going to do it, you might as well sort of try and get a good variety. And this is what, standing someone behind the light, in the light, and in front of the light, you can get quite different effects. Just because it's a big rectangle doesn't mean you can't have a lot of play and control on the way that it's hitting your subject. And it's often worth, if you've got a reasonable room and one big softbox, have a big play. Use the edges, use the middle, use the other edges, and have a look at what it does to your subject. You can get some really interesting and different looks. We've got the big body softbox right facing into her. We've got the big octagon sitting up, just sort of trying to drop light down in front of it. So I'm just trying to put a bit of a semi-sphere around her as the main light. They're two 1,000 watt flashes, and I've still got the 400 watt on her legs, simply because the two soft boxes aren't big enough to cover her whole body. And that just sort of, when I do go wide, which I'm not at the moment, I'm really just sort of concentrating on this mid-body sort of pose, and just having a bit of a fun there with the over-the-shoulder and off-shoulder looks, and just trying to sort of find form and shape and curves in a body in the black. These LED lights that I've got, the two up in the up on the swing arms there, are just both 150 watts, and I have three other 200 watters, which are lots of fun to use in both video and photography. And like any light, you can get them quite close and use them with the flashes, and they can have just a little bit of infill effect, or I can use them to sort of brighten up the background just a little as well, up against the big lights. So again, here we're just sort of taking lots of sets of images. We've got the lighting, it's all there. So it's really just about moving in and out of it now, and just trying to find some really nice poses. Something that can go into her portfolio. And I've got to think about this hot shower look. It's really nice. It's sensual. It's soft. So you've got some great lighting around there. Of course, someone has to get right in front of the camera, doesn't he? Can't help himself. But, well, I just want my angles on the shots. And we'll get some really nice shots out of this too, actually, because she's right in the mood now. She's really sort of posing really well. So totally relaxed, comfortable. Look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. And it's really nice when you get your models and they just feel comfortable in the environment. There's no weirdness and stuff like that. You can just get some absolutely beautiful photos. That's probably one things I love absolutely the best about shooting people, is when you can just get a one-on-one like this, have lots of fun. There's no weirdness. Everyone's comfortable. Her dad's just sitting on the right on the lounge chair there, so we're all in a really nice, relaxed and comfortable environment, getting some really, really good photos, and just having fun. I'm having fun. She's enjoying modelling. After this, we ended up doing a couple more sessions on a couple of different colours, then going and doing a location shoot. And I think by the end of the 4 to 5 hours, Erica was feeling quite exhausted, as I was. I think out of this set, we've easily got what we were aiming to get. Erica was very happy with some of the shots she got out of that. I'm extremely happy with some of the shots I've got out of that. And considering everything you've seen in the video is just raw, straight out of the camera, I don't think I've done too bad a job on those. Certainly some much better than the other, but hey, that's what it's all about. Just wanted to sort of take you through. That was about a 40-minute session, just on one set of clothes and posing styles, and just sort of trying to get that darker sort of shadows in the images, and just I wanted to have a big play with that outfit. So had a lot of fun with that. Anyway, thank you. Hope you enjoyed.